Nope. Still no accountability from the Galaxy front office. Two Bruins turned people's heads at the NBA draft combine, and Clayton Kershaw weighs in on his faith and Pride Night at Dodger Stadium. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is May 30th, 2023. I am in a terrific mood, as should you. The Celtics didn't just get eliminated, they got their asses whipped, but proper. It was like Jimmy Butler was the dominatrix and the Celtics forgot the safe word and the ass whooping just kept going on. So me very happy. And if you like being in the know, by the way, about LA sports as opposed to Boston, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yeah, comment. We've got a lot to comment on this morning. So before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 6, Washington 1. JD Martinez hits a 3-run home run for the NL West leaders. Rookie Bob Miller allows a run in 6 innings to move to 2-0. Meanwhile, today, Washington is still at Chavez Ravine to play the Dodgers tonight. Tony Gonsolin is 2-1 with a 1.82 ERA. Jake Irvin is for the Nationals, 1-2, a 5.32 ERA. But let's get to the Galaxy, because supporters, whether they're in a group or not, have been begging for months, not simply to fire Chris Klein or Jovan Kirovski, but for Pete's sake, for somebody to take this never-ending downfall seriously, because nobody has. They're posting whatever they can, the supporters are, in desperate hope that it will wake up the front office for somebody to try to explain what the hell is going on with the worst club in MLS this year. ESPN, for example, yesterday released its MLS power rankings. The Galaxy are butt naked last, and the writer, he scribbles down how he sees the club behaving, whether it's the coaches, the players, the front office, and concludes his review of the club by saying, "This is not a serious club." And a lot of people screenshotted that damn thing, circled the sentence about it not being a serious club, and tagged the Galaxy on social media. It's kind of like that meme that you see online all the time, where you see a stick figure poking at a logo or another person with the saying, "Come on, do something." This is part of the reason that there's a boycott. Fans overreact, they're fans, but after a decade of incompetence by Chris Klein and his merry band of nincompoops, somebody has to say something. Fans aren't that stupid. Now, I don't like hyping podcasts because nobody's hyping me. And besides, there's a lot of rumor mongering going on with a lot of sports podcasts. I did, however, listen to Corner of the Galaxy podcast last night because they had the Galaxy Senior Vice President of Soccer Operations, Will Kuntz, on. Kuntz spent big chunks of his career with the Yankees, with LAFC. He was hired this year by LA Galaxy as sort of an upper middle management type. And fans, they're expecting some sort of a turnaround, or at least some sort of plan being implemented, or at the absolute bare minimum, an honest progress report. And honestly, after an hour, I got the vibe that I was listening to a used car salesman who wouldn't show me the Carfax. That's what Will Kuntz came off like to me. He was kind of like a guy who was trying to sell me a timeshare in the Inland Empire. What? Tired of all the hustle and bustle of Los Angeles? I know what you need to kind of settle the nerves, to kind of refocus yourself and get yourself back into life. How about a couple of weeks relaxing in San Bernardino? What? San Bernardino ain't your speed? Not your type of town? There's always beautiful Rialto. Moreno Valley? Colton? Yucaipa? Ah? That's how Will Kuntz sounded. The point is, one thing people really respect is straight talk. You know, give it to me straight, even if it's bad news. We don't respect our political leaders, for example, because they don't level with us. They always have something to hide about the situation. But everything Will Kuntz said last night sounded like he was trying to be upbeat. Oh, sure, we haven't scored a goal in 3 matches, in our last 3 MLS matches. But Jay, doggone it, 1 or 2 bounces will go our way. They'll go our way at some point. Sure, we've been banned from acquiring players outside of North America this summer, but we can still make moves that help. North America is such a soccer hotbed, isn't it? No. Manager Greg Vanney didn't have an argument with fans after last Saturday's loss. He was inviting them to his Memorial Day barbecue. Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, no, we weren't trying to pull him out of there before it got ugly. He just needed to talk to the team. Those were the answers that we were getting. Kuntz literally used the 1 or 2 breaks that didn't go our way defense. He literally used that. The dude used to work for the Yankees. Does anybody think that the breaks didn't go our way defense is going to work with George Steinbrenner? Of course not. Now, there are 2 hosts on the LA Galaxy, on Corner of the Galaxies podcast. One is the main soccer writer for the LA Times. This is the question that I kept waiting for Kevin Baxter to ask. Will, a couple of months ago, I wrote a column in the Times urging the Galaxy to tear the team down right to the rivets and rebuild everything from scratch. It hasn't happened. So prove me wrong. Why is my column wrong? Why is the course the correct one? Explain. That would have basically gotten a legit answer. That would have been somebody having to take accountability or at least explain what this alleged process we're supposed to be trusting is all about. Here's another question that didn't get asked. How does your job differ from Jovan Kirovski? See, Kirovski is a target of the supporters group's boycott as well as Chris Klein because he's done an absolutely horrific job as the Galaxy's technical director. There is a belief that Jovan Kirovski is like putting rotten fruit on the failure cake of Chris Klein. And fans are tired of eating it. Now, Kuntz didn't have to name targets for trades. He didn't have to give everything away in terms of what is going on behind closed doors because we know he can't. He can't. That's part of the job. You have to try to spin a little bit. But still, you have to level with us. I did not hear a single thing about what the Galaxy will change. Because when you are buck naked last, you have to change. It's on you. It's not breaks. It's you stink. And you have to stop stinking. You have to take a shower. That's the change. There was nothing about where the buck stops. You know, accountability. Who is responsible? The closest thing I heard was, quote, well, you know, I worked for George Steinbrenner, and if we didn't win a title, we could be all in danger of losing our jobs. Okay. Great, but you're not working for George Steinbrenner anymore. And by the way, George Steinbrenner has been dead for a long time now. He did not own a Major League Soccer team. So that comment means nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that seemed remotely interesting from out of the mouth of Will Kuntz was that he said the team is now legitimately going into analytics. But big whoop. Big whoop. Again, the Galaxy, buck naked last in MLS. We're not hearing anything that remotely sounds like somebody taking responsibility for the disaster that is the team on the field and the front office that put that team together. No straight talk. It was unserious spin from a guy representing an unserious club. I don't think Amari Bailey is coming back to UCLA. He made a splash at the NBA Combine last weekend by not trying to make splashes. He played in 2 games there, over in Chicago, dished out 14 assists. So with the Bruins, that's actually a change of what Amari Bailey was brought in for. With the Bruins, he played off the ball because the point guard was Tiger Campbell. So NBA scouts now, their eyes are bugging out because they are seeing a new tool in Bailey's toolkit. They see him now maybe more as a point guard than a shooting guard. Now, to be real, Bailey is still more likely a 2nd round pick. So if Bailey envisions himself as a lottery guy, maybe he does go back to UCLA. But he's not the one doing the talking. His family is. and his family wants him to go pro. Jaime Jaquez Jr. also showed scouts something he didn't really show at UCLA. Hops. Big hops. Not talking about winning some sort of idiotic dunk contest at the combine. No. There is a no-step vertical challenge. In other words, just how high can you go? Straight up. Jaquez had the third best jump of all prospects, 34.5 inches. I've avoided this topic for a long time for a reason. Clayton Kershaw told the LA Times yesterday that he disagreed with the franchise decision to give the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence an award during the team's upcoming Pride Night game. Then Kershaw said it was he that approached the franchise to relaunch Christian Faith and Family Day as a response. Now, if you think the Dodgers were going to ignore the face of the franchise to be social justice warriors, that's not going to happen. Not at all. And it is a difficult balance that the Dodgers are trying to achieve. They want to make as many people as possible feel welcome at the stadium. I totally get that. And by the way, Kershaw wasn't necessarily, if you read his quote in its entirety, I didn't think the quote was hateful. I didn't. I have been avoiding talking about this topic of Pride Night at Dodger Stadium, of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, for a bunch of reasons. One, I prefer to stick talking to sports. I don't tell any of you guys how to vote, for example. And on top of that, I don't have time to become an expert on the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I've got bills to pay. I've got a wife I love. I've got family that needs my help. They take priority over the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Two, I lived in Hollywood. I have quite a few friends who are gay, bi, trans, whatever letter you put on that random letter salad for social justice, chances are I know a few people who represent those letters, and I was cool with a lot of people in Hollywood, so I assume I'm cool with them. Maybe I'm wrong. Third, I do start off every Sunday show saying that we should all thank God. Now, that does not mean I want people to hate on lesbians, gays, bisexuals, trans. Not my thing. There are churches out there who do, in fact, open their doors to the LGBTQ, etc. brigade. And any letters you want to add, I know churches that will open their doors to them. There's only one question I have about the whole Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence thing. Really. There's one thing that I really want to know more than anything else. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence have been described as anti-Catholic, or people who cosplay hate on religion. Now, I don't know anybody in that group. So who am I to say? I don't know. If somebody in that group come up to me and said, James, honestly, we're just a glorified Benny Hill skit. Don't take us seriously. It's all a gag. We don't mean any harm. This is just our way of having fun. If they said something like that, that would totally be enough for a guy like me. If they really are about hating the Catholic Church, then honestly, I would say that the God I believe in is stronger than your group could ever be. Good luck trying to dethrone God. And then I would let it go. No hate, no vengeance, no animosity. You're not dethroning God, and I would let it go. Julio Urias tested his hamstring by throwing in Tampa during the recently concluded road trip. While he tried, it didn't feel all that good, so he's going to need a couple of more days on the injured list. They're not talking about extending his stint on the injured list, more like having him sit for a couple of more days. Dave Roberts said it's going to push back pitching a simulated game and pitching again and getting his strength up. So the dominoes fall like that. Quote, I'm hesitant to even put any timeline on it. I think it's fair to say today, Tuesday, a bullpen session, and then in the ensuing days, he'll throw live at some point, and then we'll see. Dodgers coaches also took another look at Urias' pitching in recent games because he coughed up a number of home runs. They have the belief that Urias was not tipping his pitches against the Cardinals. He gave up 4 home runs against them, for example. Max Muncy said they canceled the MRI on his hamstring because he believes it's just a cramp, that he feels much better. Roberts told the Scribes before the game yesterday that he agrees with the assessment about Muncy, but they will hold off on playing him just to give him a little extra healing time. We've been talking a lot about false rumors of stars that bloggers and TV hype mongers have argued are coming to the Lakers. You know, we just shoot them down one after another, much like an Alec Baldwin movie set. But there was this article, for example, to show you how nuts these rumors continue to be. CBS Sports listed 20 players that the Lakers might be interested in. 20. You see what I'm saying? You can't take it seriously. That's more than an entire NBA roster. And by the way, it was all based on innuendo. And there's a reason it's based on innuendo. The NBA offseason hasn't even begun yet, and people are throwing out names. You can't take it seriously. The entire focus of every NBA front office right now is on the draft, then free agency, then trades. 1, 2, 3. All of these trade rumors, you may as well just toss them into the John flush, straight up. Speaking of vapid internet rumors, there are posts out there claiming the Chargers should go after former Arizona Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. I did a little research to see if such a move is feasible. It's not. It isn't. But I did learn something during my research that is blowing my mind. The Bolts are not only up against the cap this year, they are $60 million over the cap next year. That is crazy. $60 million over the cap. And they've already restructured the contracts of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. So no, they're not going to go after DeAndre Hopkins. There's no way to afford him. But I would like to close that little tale of woe by mentioning real reports have listed teams that are interested in trying to add Hopkins, who is a terrific receiver. And one of them is division rival, defending Super Bowl champion, Kansas City. Former UCLA wide receiver Kaz Allen has impressed the Washington Commanders, particularly head coach Ron Rivera. The coach cited the versatility that Allen has, not just as a receiver, but as a returner and somebody who can even serve as a running back in a pinch. Now, I like the story. I do. Because when you're starting a career, whether it's in sports or whatever, you're trying to make yourself as valuable to your employer as possible. Kaz Allen fits that description exactly. So respect that. I mentioned people have spent the better part of a week burying outgoing USC athletic director Mike Bohn. Look, whether he was asked to resign or whether he was fired, it's total semantics. I don't have a problem with people saying that you can't behave the way that Bohn allegedly did and keep your gig. I get it. You can't. What I do have a problem with is people who are writing or saying that Bohn did nothing right. That's not true. Because that is part of canceling somebody. You see, in order to, we talk a lot about cancel culture, but what is it? In order to cancel somebody, you have to cancel their entire resume. Cancel the entire resume. And that's not fair, because in addition to resurrecting the football team, consider the Trojans baseball team. Under first-year coach Andy Stankiewicz, USC appeared to be a bottom feeder in the Pac-12 going into the year. They finished 34-23-1. That's a .586 winning percentage. It was fourth place in the conference. They're widely seen as having been snubbed by the College Baseball Playoff Selection Committee. The program decades ago was a national power. This is the first year that they were ranked in the top 25 since 2016. So again, props to the baseball team for turning it around. I get why Bohn had to lose his job, but don't act like he did nothing right. You're not being truthful when you say that. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Let me know if I'm wrong about Will Kuntz's interview last night on the Corner of the Galaxy podcast. Let me know what you think about the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. And if you enjoy talking LA sports, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports here every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.